Metro TV. And it's time for our Thursday morning conversation with the Minerals Commission, talking about the mining sector in this country. But today, we have a twist, and it looks like a pleasant one, and it's going to be quite interesting as far as this is concerned. And I'm sure that you're aware that Atlantic Lithium is listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and it makes it the first greenfield company on the Ghanaian bourse. And well, people are going on all hyper about it, but what's the big deal? Companies list every day. So really, what is this about? What's significant about this? What's game-changing about this? Why should this even interest anybody? We're going to find out about that. And you know, my usual guest on the show is Mr. Martin Ayisi. He's the CEO of the Minerals Commission, and he's been very excited throughout. Martin, good morning.
Morning.
Okay. All right. But joining us on the show this morning for the first time, and I'm happy about that, is Madam Abinamwa, who is the, what's the title at the stock exchange? Is it Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange? Abna, good morning.
Good morning, Randy.
Okay. Okay, so as for Martin, we know him. Let me start off this way, and I like to do that so we can all lighten up a bit. You're the MD of the Ghana Stock Exchange. What more is there to know about you?
I've been in the investment banking industry for almost 30 years.
Oh.
Ran a couple of local domestic investment banks, and then joined an international firm as well. And I've done some work also on the private sector side, trying to build infrastructure projects in Ghana. And so I've had the unique opportunity to see things from the advisor's point of view, from a company that needs to raise capital, from an investor's point of view, and also now through the Ghana Stock Exchange, from the regulatory and infrastructure point of view, who enables the growing of businesses, the creation of wealth for investors, so we develop our country. And for me, that's very exciting. And that's what we are working with the team and all stakeholders to achieve.
How long have you been MD of Stock Exchange?
A year and maybe 6 months.
Oh, 18 months.
Yes.
Why did you accept it? Why did you decide to do it?
I thought it was, I'd never done the regulatory and infrastructure side.
Okay.
I've always been absolutely passionate about the capital markets, because no country, absolutely no country, has grown without mobilizing its citizens' savings, turning them into investments. That goes to private sector, that goes to infrastructure development, and that creates wealth. So Ghana will be left behind if we don't focus on developing our capital market. I was trying to build an industrial park, and funding was a struggle. We had electricity challenges. We had all sorts of issues. And I realized if we don't tackle that framework that enables Ghanaian ownership, we've done a lot to facilitate foreign investments and continue to do that. But I still thought that what was missing was how we crowd in Ghanaians, let them educate more Ghanaians about the investment opportunities that are here. So we build public markets that enables our country to develop to the levels of the South Africa, the European and North American.
Okay, so we'll get back there. There are some things that are a bit confusing about a stock exchange. There's a tier 1, tier 2, there's something different, that other thing different, and I'll get you to explain all that bit for us. How come some people have bought shares in a company, they don't see the shares being traded? How is that possible, and what that does mean and all that? And I'm sure a lot of Hearts of Oak supporters will be interested in that as well. But let me come to the excited Martin. So what's exciting about Atlantic Lithium listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange?
Randy, good morning.
Good morning.
And then good morning to Abna, who has been very instrumental in getting this done. And of course to our viewers and those who are also listening. wherever they may be. Randy, I think as far back as last year, so that she gets to answer most of the questions, I basically itemized 4 key government policies that for us at Mincom, we think that whether MPP or whoever is in power, if we should take them seriously, we can turn the mining sector around, so that we will also be like how people can talk about mining in Australia, in South Africa, in Canada, and elsewhere. What were those 4 areas? Small scale. I think I mentioned small scale mining. I mentioned value addition. Then I mentioned local content. And then what we talked about last week, raising monies here to finance these billions of dollars we've been talking about. Other than that, the norm is that these things come from outside. So we are beginning to see 2 of the 4 cardinal policies of the government. And for that matter, some of the things that were included in the mining lease, bearing fruit now. So if you look at page 23 and 24, just to set the scene carefully of the lease, apart from the taxes, the royalties, and other things that are listed in there were 4 things that were imposed, or 4 obligations, okay, that were, if you like, imposed on the company. And one is that they must come out with a report on FESPA and the chemical plant, so that we can refine those products here. Randy, I'm proud to say that those reports have been submitted to the Minerals Commission. They've taken us through it. So I'm just trying to check the availability of the minister. At the appropriate time, he will hold a press conference to tell the nation about that one too. So we can tick off on that one. The other one is to allow the states to participate, state and Ghanaian participation. So for the state, it is coming through MIF, because MIF is a sovereign wealth fund for the Republic of Ghana. And they are investing about $32 million, 5 of which has been paid. So again, this is a sharp departure from what we used to have, all these years. Then the third one, which is making me excited, is that we make, we indigenize the sector. And how do you do that? You do it in 2 ways, in the MIF angle, and also allowing Ghanaians to participate. So it's not everybody who is interested in coming to Minerals Commission and pick up licenses and explore and then get into mining, or even wants to do supply. Somebody wants to take, equity or maybe finance. So the stock exchange route is one of the things. And I'm proud to say that this is a greenfield. When we say greenfield, like fresh, new, they finished feasibility, they've been issuing a mining lease. Other than that, those that used to be listed in the past were not, they were just going concern. Remember the Anglo Gold, Ashanti Major, Golden Star that they listed, they are coming back again after the Chinese passages. So this is the first time we are seeing things like that. We need to see more of this. So I'm here telling Ghanaians that one of the conditionalities imposed on Atlantic Lithium when the Barari lease was signed by the minister sometime in October last year has been fulfilled. The fine details, who and what is available, what is in it for us, she's the best person to answer. I have done my part. There's only one conditionality left, which is they have to set up a community development fund where 1% of the revenue every year will be set aside to support the community. It will be given to them. That can only happen when production starts. So that is the excitement.
Well,
thank you.
Okay. So I come back to you. He said as a regulator, he's happy. He signed a contract. Portions of the clauses in the contract have been fulfilled. So he has every reason to be happy. But for the GSE, the Ghana Stock Exchange, and for us, what's exciting about this? There are companies that are listed on the stock exchange already. You're trading every day. What is new? What's different? What's exciting?
So what I really must also do is commend Martin and his team and the policy makers for this policy direction that for such an important asset as mining, we all know it's a significant, if not the largest contributor of foreign exchange to our economy. We are the largest producer of gold in all of Africa. In all of Africa. On foreign exchanges, stock exchanges, there are over 40 companies whose only assets or largest assets are listed there outside of Ghana, giving their nationals, other countries' nationals, the opportunity to benefit from a mineral that we work on every day. So I can say for a fact that what our policymakers have done excites not just only Ghanaian investors, but all of Africa's investors. I've had calls from my colleague CEOs in Nigeria, in Botswana, in Rwanda, etc. They're all very excited and they want to learn from us. Because truly the capital markets, as Australia, Canada, London, New York, Joburg have demonstrated, it's the true engine of wealth creation for the mass public. So what is exciting for us is that, Randy, today we have a lot of Ghanaians asking, what should I invest in? I have some savings. What can I put my money to that can work for me whilst I do my other stuff? We've created a pension scheme, a private pension scheme. Today they have 50 billion Ghana cedis of our contributions under management that they have to invest, and invest largely in the productive sectors of the Ghanaian economy. So those investments can make good return in the long term. When you're in retirement, the value of that investment and of your pension and my pension stays and can support us when we don't have regular incomes. In Nigeria next door, $35 billion worth of these same assets. And to be honest, you said there are companies listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Today, the GSE has 3 markets. Our main market for large companies to raise what we call equity shares. We have an alternative market that has about 5 companies on it, on the main market, 36 companies. And we have a fixed income market where companies can raise debt,
so
money they can buy.
I'll let you explain all 3.
But
yes.
they are in all, we have less than 50 companies on that market.
Why?
That is another thing we must come to.
Because you've come from the private sector.
Yes.
You've been involved in investments and equity and all that. So you can appreciate how the private sector, which is supposed to list, how they see the boss and why they would want to see that as an option or not.
Yes.
You are now the person in charge.
Yes.
So that's why I asked you the question.
Yes.
How come we have hundreds of companies, yet we have just this small number you
50,
mentioned, less than 50 companies at the various tiers of the stock exchange?
And I'll share some of the reasons with you, but there are many that we can delve into later, because today I really want to talk about why the Atlantic Lithium is a big opportunity for the market. And one of it is mostly people don't understand the market, and that's why we've stepped up our engagement with direct companies. And through that engagement, we've seen Casapreco, PLC, that I remember first reaching out to the founder more than 20 years, 25 years ago. Casapreco has come to the stock exchange this year and listed. So the educational programs are very, very important, and we've had a strategy of engaging in a different way that we are beginning to see results
take a cue from the Minerals Commission, and let's have a time with the stock exchange on Good Morning Ghana.
Absolutely. Yeah. The second part is policy. Many countries that have had sustained capital market development have had policies that support the listing of these companies. For instance, MTN Ghana, it was a condition of their license for 4G that they come to the market. And so they came to the market. So Ghana as a country must look at doing some of the things. 2018. They came to the market 2018. They raised 1.3 billion Ghana cedis. They listed, and it has become the most liquid stock on the market. So what MINCOM has done is also important, and we believe that to enable this continue, other critical sectors, the financial sector, the insurance sector, utilities, even state-owned enterprises We've been working on a project with the Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprises and SIGA on this. All those must come to the market because most of them need capital. The third reason is that people used to say there was no capital if they needed to raise money here in Ghana. 12 years ago, we privatized our pension sector. I've just told you that our private pensions have 40 billion cedis.
Where's that money?
That money was 99% put in government of Ghana treasury bills and bonds.
Whoa. Okay.
So now they are looking for new ways to invest the money, and their regulator also says that they must invest in variable sectors and in the real sector of the economy. So the issue that used to be that there's no money in Ghana if I need to raise capital, we've seen through our private pensions especially that there is money. Now they are looking for products to invest in. And for me, the final thing is sometimes the fear of many of the entrepreneurs who are like, oh, I don't want to open up my business, the transparency that comes with being on the stock exchange. I don't want to go through that. It's really an education program to tell them that you're not going to lose your company. The benefits of having a better governance structure is a more sustainable business, so your company doesn't die off with you.
Let's spend a little time on the issue of the regulations, the requirements.
Yes.
Which you believe that it's one of the key reasons why people don't want to go there. What's required of a company to be able to list?
To list a company, and I'll talk, let's say, on the main market.
Yes.
On the main market to come to market, your stated capital should be 1 million Ghana cedis.
Minimum. 1 million Ghana cedis.
1 million Ghana cedis. You must be willing to sell up to 25% of your shares.
So you can retain 75.
Exactly.
Okay.
You must be willing to present and publish quarterly financials.
Quarterly.
Quarterly.
So 4 times a year.
4 times a year plus you're audited, and the 4 don't have to be audited.
Yes.
Plus you're audited.
At the end of the financial year. Okay.
You must be willing to disclose and engage with investors periodically, or at least once a year, how you are growing the business, how the business is performing.
Is that through an AGM?
We actually offer a platform called Facts Behind the Figures.
Okay.
Where we bring the investors and the issue
a public platform
to engage. So we believe that these are actually sustainable ways of doing business, transparent and sustainable ways of doing business, especially if you've taken public money. Your willingness to account to them, to engage with them as you engage with your customers. Your investors are a very important stakeholder for you, and that is why public markets all around the world are significant. Even in Africa, our public markets constitute over $1.6 trillion of assets.
What's the value of assets on the Ghana Stock Exchange as we speak?
As we speak now, the value of so we run 3 markets.
Yes.
Across our markets, we have over 400 billion Ghana cedis of assets across our 3 markets.
400 billion.
400 billion Ghana cedis
of
assets across our markets. The vast majority of that is in our fixed income market, which is dominated by government of Ghana securities. More than 90.
Yeah, when you say fixed income market, what's that?
When you're buying treasury bills, the DDP bonds, the new bonds, the old bonds, that's where.
What does that got to do with the stock exchange?
They are traded on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Really?
That is where you buy your treasury bills.
Oh, so that's government bonds.
Yes, that's government.
Yes.
Exactly. Then there is the corporate bond
So that's
sector.
where the private pension people are playing.
They are all there. And that's where they've put all our money, or majority of our money. Then the private constitutes about 9% of 9%. That's where Casapreco is where.
So government is about 91.
Yes, and that is why our pensions are looking for investments in the real sector. That is why they're excited about Atlantic Lithium.
But why haven't you?
And Atlantic Lithium, let me tell you some of the things they're excited about. Lithium as a green mineral. and possibly this will be our first investment, at least in West Africa, of a green mineral being listed on a stock exchange. This company, their only asset is in Ghana. They are listed on London Stock Exchange. They are listed in Australia, but not in Ghana. So now we've brought the opportunity closer to our Ghanaian investors. The day after the listing on Tuesday, they had an investor briefing for our Ghanaian funds. Over 50 people showed up and were absolutely, it was eye-opening for them. So that education is going on. It means that if they want to buy the shares, they don't need to go to London. It means that Atlantic Lithium is also committed to working and educating the Ghanaian investor to understand how to invest in
So
this.
what percentage of their shares are they listing on the GSE?
So what they've listed is all of the shares already in issue and traded in London and Australia on the Ghanaian market. So everything, the entire company.
Is that 100% of the company?
It's 100% of the company
Which
on
value
the
is
Ghana
what?
market, which value is about 2.4 billion Ghana cedis on the Ghana market today.
Okay.
So that is what is available on the Ghana market today.
Okay. But we are not in a position to determine what has been bought already on the other exchanges and what is left. We are not.
No, they are all in the hands of various investors.
Yeah, so,
all the shares.
So even the investors can sell them.
Exactly.
It does not necessarily lie with the company. Even individuals who have bought can also trade.
Exactly. Okay. But in addition to that, following our discussions also with the investors, the institutional investors, what we are looking at and talking to the company to do a particular capital raise that is focused in Ghana so that more people can look at it and take a view.
So how much is a share and what is the minimum that one can buy?
So on the GSE, we listed them at 4 cedis 40 pesos per share. That was on Monday.
4 cedis 40 pesos?
Per share.
Okay. And what's the minimum that you can buy?
The minimum you can buy really is 1 share, 10 shares, 100 shares if you want
so
to.
you can go and buy 4 cedis 40 pesos?
Put in an order with your stockbroker. Okay. So that's the minimum a person can buy. But we say that for investments, please always talk to the number of stockbrokers that we have.
Can I walk to your office and buy a share?
No, you don't. We don't
so
sell
how do I buy
you.
A
you
share?
Buy shares through stock brokerage firms.
How do I find them?
Have, if you go on our website, you see the list
the Ghana
of them.
Stock Exchange website.
www.gsc.com.gh.
Okay.
We have the list of stockbrokers, or on our regulated site, the SEC site as well. We have a list of stockbrokers. Many of our stockbrokers have trading platforms such as Trade Live, Second Stacks, FinCap, CD Manager, etc., that you can use to even buy shares on the market. Even on your mobile phone, on your MTN one, you can see that you can buy and sell MTN shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange, on USSD or on a smartphone. So these avenues are there, and we are looking to expand more of them.
Now, why should I invest my money in shares? Why?
It's very important for everyone.
There's land. There's land to buy, to go and build real estate, to go and buy land somewhere, to build somewhere, to hide the money under my bed. Why should I buy shares?
An investment in shares is an investment in a company in Ghana. An investment, if a company needs to produce more things, and we've been talking about even import substitution, that we are buying a lot of imported goods. It means that we are investing in companies that are producing outside of Ghana. So if a company that's operating here says, I need to raise 50 million Ghana cedis and establish a factory here and hire people here and produce goods here and pay taxes here, I think every Ghanaian, it's our responsibility, it's our civic responsibility to support that, to create the jobs that we need, to create the environment that we need. Many people that invested in MTN today are happy. Even MTN today has 25% of its shareholders as Ghanaian. It means that of the profits that it announces every quarter that it makes, if it's paying dividend, what does it mean? A quarter of it at least goes to a Ghanaian. Again, it reduces the foreign exchange repatriation of us. But so long as you believe in the future of this country, you are here. All of us, of course, the investment opportunities are many. And depending on your risk profile and your risk appetite, you will look at the different things. But shares remain a very viable one. If you build a house and you needed to raise a portion of that, you can't sell your living room alone. But shares, you can sell 1, 2, 3 of it and liquidate that. So it's more liquid. Generally, stock markets or investments in well-functioning stock markets are more liquid than investments in real estate. Even if it's real estate you want to do, there are many vehicles that are on stock markets, such as things we call real estate investment trust, where you put together a portfolio, a group of buildings, say that earn rent, and each of us can hold a portion of that, a token way. So instead of a Ghanaian who doesn't have $100,000 to go and put up a building, but I have the equivalent of 100 CDs, I can be a co-owner in a building that is 100,000. So it democratizes the access. So it's not just rich people that can come to the market. That's why I said the minimum investment is one. Anyone with 5 CDs, 10 CDs, 20 CDs, through stock markets, we put in place these structures so that the person with 10 CDs can invest as much as the person like you who has the big amounts can also invest. Okay. And these are the advantages.
Are you in a position to tell us the structure of investments or trading on a stock exchange, as in Ghanaian and foreign? Yeah. And I ask this question because I want to find out whether Atlantic Lithium's listing is open to only Ghanaians or it's open to everybody.
Very well. So on the stock markets, the listings are open to everyone.
Irrespective of your nationality.
Irrespective of your nationality. So for Atlantic Lithium, what I said is that what is listed is what is already in London, Australia, etc. But when you come to Ghana, there's a specific requirement that the policymakers have made that for these mining leaseholders, they should ensure that up to 25% of their holding is Ghanaian. Is Ghanaian, is local. And that is why companies, and MTN had a similar thing, and that is why they went through their localization strategy and have met a 25% minimum state. So we're working with the MINCOM and the Chamber of Mines to come up with the guidelines for the implementation of this strategy. Because if we took all the mining companies in Ghana today and said that implement the strategy immediately, these are multi-billion-dollar companies. We don't have the capacity to take up all of that. We don't. So it's an incremental
Is
approach.
any of them listed?
We have Anglo that's listed. We have Asante Gold that is listed, which also came through this MINCOM policy. And so what we are doing is having an incremental approach to ensure that when they want to raise capital, that never again is it that Ghanaians don't even have an opportunity to look into what they are doing, which was what was going on before. But the capital raises, we were always excluded. And if you are not at the table, you can't take advantage of the opportunity. And for me, that's what I'm excited about. Because if I'm given the opportunity, I can analyze and say, yes, I want this. No, I don't want this. But with information, with education, I'm empowered to make the right decision. And so for the Ghanaian mining leaseholders, yes, progressively, we will work with them to attain that minimum Ghanaian ownership. What does that mean? One, they must all be on the stock market. And it doesn't matter if you come on the stock market to start with with 1% shareholding, but be there. The next capital raise you need, you have to offer it to Ghanaians as well. To let Ghanaians make a good decision, you must work with us to educate all of us. So as we get educated, then we begin to do the things that Canadian Teachers Fund, South African pension fund holders have done and built their stake in this market.
Clarify this for me. Has trading in Atlantic Lithium started?
Yes, it has started.
Okay, so if it started, how are you able to achieve the minimum 25% Ghanaian ownership? What's the mechanism that has been put in place to ensure that that 25% is achieved? Is there something that safeguards that?
Yes. So what safeguards that is the law, and we will monitor the trading as we've had the system before. We'll monitor the trading to make sure, and the stockbrokers know, to make sure that those holdings are not impeded to start with. The additional mechanisms in place today is that these securities trade across markets. So there are brokers that are sourcing the shares from London or Australia and offering them to investors here. The second mechanism that's been put in place is that MIF, the Minerals Income and Investment Fund, also has access to some shares that they are working also to look at to offload onto the market. The third mechanism that has been put in place is that Atlantic Lithium itself is going to do a public offer on its next capital raise that is for Ghanaians. And through that capital raise, that will become what Ghanaians, additional shares that Ghanaians will have access to.
So what if 90% of Atlantic Lithium shares are bought on a London stock exchange and they are bought by non-Ghanaians? What do you do about it?
100% of the shares will always trade across the markets. Okay. But if you are going to move shares across registers, and the companies are very clear about making sure they meet these, this is a law. Okay. Can't flout the law. And the advisors, it's not the shareholders dealing directly with each other. The advisors are licensed. And one of the key things they have to comply with are all the rules and regulations that, that govern these trading mechanisms. Okay. So for us, we do surveillance on these matters to make sure that these breakpoints are not flouted. But to start with, the whole company is on the market. As and when more shares get onto the Ghana register, they will be traded in, and as and when the company, and we expect, based on the discussions we're having, for an additional capital raise to come and focus on the Ghana market. The other thing with Ghanaians is that mostly they don't trade. We are buy and hold country. Yeah. We used to buy, frame the share certificate and pass it on to our...
I have my EcoBank transnational share certificate somewhere.
You've never sold it?
Never.
Exactly. So the one thing we've seen generally with Ghanaians is that we buy and hold. So it won't be Ghanaians selling out their shares. It will be more of, and as we've seen with MTN, foreigners selling their shares to Ghanaians and Ghanaians picking them up. So we're very confident that with some of these things that we've put in place, more shares will get into Ghana and into the hands of those that want it. There
are two interesting questions that I need to ask you. I think that you're more than capable in answering them, so I'll still go ahead and ask them. The first one has to do with where these government bonds and stuff are being traded. Now, if 91%, I'm sure that you, from what you're saying, you would prefer that the pension funds and others are traded at the level where you now have Atlantic Lithium and others, rather than in those government bonds and bills and all that. You know, it appears that government is, in a way, a competitor because government is out there looking for those funds. Every week, I sit here and I read how much government expects to take from the how do you call it, the
Treasury
treasury bill market, you know, and obviously people look at those ones and they look at the returns, 90-day and all that, and they look at that, and for them, it makes more sense to go and play there rather than to go and buy shares in Casapreco or MTN or Lithium or others. That must be a worry.
Look, it's very important that government is funded.
Yes.
Government needs to be funded so that our public service works. The use of the money that government raises is to pay emoluments, is to return, is to make returns on the money we've given in terms of the treasury bills we bought, all the bonds that we bought. And for the longer dated bonds, it's to go into infrastructure projects or things like that that can pay back those investments. So government borrowing everywhere in the world is the largest. We hear about the size of the US Treasury securities. But the private sector also has to step up. And the component of what we are trying to address is how little the private sector's issuance of public securities is on our markets. Because the private sector, we say, is our engine of growth. It's our engine of growth. And if this country is going to do well, if we are going to transform, if we are going to develop as fast as we want to do, then it means that the private sector must get the right amount of capital that they need at affordable and competitive rates as well. In the last few years, we've had a challenge. 3 years ago, government treasury bills were about 13%. They were in the low teens. The longer dated, the 5-year bonds were about 16%. You'd see that even the banks were giving a lot of credit out. Okay. And the last 2 or 3 years, we've had a bit of challenge, as we all know. And the rates have gone up. So of course, like as you said, the rational person looks at the short-term opportunities, because we don't look at, no one is expecting this to persist for the long term. But even as we look at the short-term opportunities, we also have to take into account that we must fund the private sector. So as the economy, I feel very strongly that as the economy does better, as interest rates come down, because today there's I can't imagine which private business can sustain production or business at paying 30% for capital. They can't. Those rates must be in the teens, in the low teens, before we can be competitive, before we can take advantage of AFTA, before we can push our industrialization policy. The only thing left is for them to source foreign capital. And if they source foreign capital, it has impact also on our currency. So that's why for us, the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Ghana, and the business associations, AGI, Chamber of Mines, etc., we must all come together and see what are the real policies we need to put in place. If government has to borrow to pay civil servant salaries, needed borrow at 28% and chase inflation. Must government, why do we say that it's government that has to give us real return? Government needs to borrow, it needs to make salaries. If there was a mechanism where it could take what it needed at 7%, at 10%, and we look for the real return by investing in corporates at competitive rates, so they can grow. For me, that is the area that we need to look at.
Okay, let me bring you in, Martin, as we try to wrap up on this. You're always frustrated when we speak about this, I want to call it domestic financing, or it was indigenization of our mining industry and all that. And you always highlight pension funds because of what exists elsewhere. Now you are aware of where the pension funds are.
Yes, but Ronnie, to answer that, so perhaps you have to help us here. Senate collects money. I mean, by 15th, 400 workers, income, their money is gone. So maybe she has to tell us. And what I know is that pension funds are starting to be corrected because I've been following these things. They diversify their portfolio. You don't put everything. So is there anything that is stopping SNIT from putting their money there? Or let's say some of the public institutions or even private institutions, as a way of motivating their staff, have introduced Tier 4. There are some Tier 4s running now. Why don't we take some of the money there? So perhaps she can answer. Is there anything that stops SNIT from taking some of our billions there? Do you understand that? So that in the event the share price goes to even 6 cedis or even 10 cedis, they cash out and say, okay, I put in 1 billion, it's now worth 4 billion. Let me take 2 billion, pay some pensions, and let me still keep some 1 or 2 billion. Abna, you have to tell us.
Yes, you're spot on, Martin. And in fact, their regulator
has actually come up with guidelines in terms of how they need to invest. And that's why I said
the NPRA?
The NPRA requires that many of them have to invest in what we call the real sector of the economy. And so since GDP, I mean, previously we thought government securities were fail-proof.
That's what we're taught in school.
I know, all of us. But I think we've now learned our lessons. So to speak on behalf of the pension funds, and through they have a chamber as well. And over the last 3 years, GSE has actually engaged the sector a lot, as well as their regulator, and we are getting a lot of collaboration. They are ready to invest in these companies. Some of them are now investing in venture funds, so partnering with the Venture Capital Trust Fund and other private equity funds and putting some money to back for private equity. But majority of their investments, because it's public money, there are 2.5 million of us contributing through the various schemes, including the Tier 3. Because many of us are investing, or the funds are public money, our money, we require that many of them must come to the people who want to take this money must come to the stock market, where the governance requirements are more transparent, are more accessible, to ensure that the best and good corporate governance requirements are being met. And that is why we are engaging the private sector. That is why we are engaging state-owned enterprises. There are beautiful state-owned enterprises like Ghana Gas, TDC, SIC, Ghana Re, etc. Strong companies, good performance track record that are very easy sales today, right? And profitable. And all of them need money for growth. They need additional capital for growth. So we think they should be on the market. Take our pension fund money, give them a percentage holding in these companies, and grow and develop the additional housing schemes or infrastructure projects, etc., that they need. Those that are not yet in the health to come to the market, they are willing to work with government and their advisors to structure them, come up with a solid business plan that if we put in front of you as a potential investor, you buy into it and say, here is the money for the turnaround. And so even on this mining asset class, in February, we had a big training session together with the Chamber of Mines for our fund managers. We went to visit for the first time. Almost none of us had ever been to a gold mine operations before. Asante Gold hosted over 30 fund managers at Chirano and BBN. For the first time, we saw a gold pool. Can you imagine? Something we've mined for hundreds and hundreds of years. None of us have even been anywhere close to it. And so they are coming around. But the issue they have today is, who's stepping up to take the money? Where is the private sector companies that are stepping up and putting their hands up? That's why we're very excited to see Casapreco come. Their offer was oversubscribed. They registered a 600 million program. Their offer was oversubscribed. They raised money at lower rates than government is paying on the equivalent instruments.
When was this?
This was just this March.
Okay.
Just this March, Kasapreku raised 100 million from our pension fund managers are cheaper than government is.
Yeah, they've learned their lessons from DDEP.
Very well. Lesego came to the market.
Lesego is what, South African?
Lesego is, yes, it's here in Ghana. In Ghana, through your mobile money, they are giving small loans.
Yeah.
They've given over 5 million loans to Ghanaians and SMEs through their mobile platform using AI, supporting businesses here. They came and raised 150 million. Another company has raised also money. Other institutions have announced plans to raise about 1 billion Ghana cedis on the market today. So we are encouraged. That's what excites us. We encourage that if we work with the pension fund managers, educate them about the opportunities. They will begin to put some money towards this. But we must continue to fund government. But for me, the issue is the rate at which government borrows. Because that rate becomes the benchmark.
It's just desperation.
For everything.
So one of the viewers sent me a text. He says, it was just a one-liner. He says, please ask her why it's so difficult to sell your shares. That was just a text.
And they are spot on because there are too few actors in the market.
Explain that.
The few actors means that you have bought. Where are the buyers?
Yes.
Today on the Ghana market, we have about 200,000 people with direct equities, shares, accounts in what we call our depository. Too few of them. Like you, many of them buy and hold. So the day someone steps onto the market and wants to buy some, Randy is still holding on to his ETI from years ago. So that's another educational point we are doing to support people to understand that the best way to make
I've not even
money.
checked to see how much it's trading for.
Exactly.
Whether it makes sense to sell now or what.
So
I mean, I don't play there.
These are the things we're doing. We've realized that the fastest way to do that is to put a tool in your hand.
Yeah.
So if you had an app on your phone every day that you click on and check and see what's trading on the stock exchange, what's the news release. We are working with the market operators to launch tools like that and bring the market closer.
I'm checking Forex every day, but I don't check the
stock exchange. And in fact, we've actually also launched what we call the GSC Trade Watch.
Okay.
So today, right now, from the internet, you can see what's happening live on the floor. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if you want to sell, when almost 100% of our money was in government securities, who was stepping up to buy?
True.
So that's what we call the actors. The third part is that, okay, if you want to build the best investment portfolio, you should have a diversified portfolio. There should be all the key sectors of Ghana on the market, the mining sector, the telecoms, the agriculture sector, agro-processing, all the key sectors must be there. The different sizes company, big ones, small ones, startups. And as we build all these pillars up, then it will make it attractive for more investors to come in.
Right.
So that's why we are really pushing on our educational programs, our policies to get more companies in, our direct engagement with the companies, our investments in technology and tools to create immediate access. It's a medium-term strategy we have, but I think overall, if we don't get our macroeconomic situation right, there won't be any savings. There won't be any expansion of businesses by companies either.
For an investment, a risk-averse population like this, I mean, you always have...
Randy, I challenge you, Ghanaians are not risk-averse. We are the most aggressive
maybe risk-averse
takers.
when it comes to buying
we are the most
shares.
Aggressive risk takers. Some of the pyramid schemes I've seen Ghanaians go after.
Yeah.
Some of the most dangerous things I've seen Ghanaians go after.
There's a quick...
Randy, can I add a few?
Yeah, please. I was going to ask you to give us the benediction.
Yes, so let me just talk on this risk averse thing.
Yes.
Randy, it's just that I cannot mention names. I'm saying they are very wealthy Ghanaians by virtue of mining.
Okay.
Let me repeat. I came to Minerals Commission 2nd April 2002. That's a Monday. So you're talking about some 22 years ago. What I'm seeing now is not what I saw even 5, 10, 20 years ago. There are people, you see, mining is all about patience. If you can treat mining like marriage, you'll be there. Mining.
Repeat that.
If you can treat mining like marriage, patience.
Okay.
So there are some, to wrap up, you see, and you don't necessarily have to go to the stock market. The other two options.
Which are?
Institutions can even go and give you money directly. So let's say Metro TV, maybe after Abnan's assessment, she will say, oh, you guys, when I look at one or two things, you are not there yet. Or you don't meet some of our requirements, go back and do X, Y, Z. But perhaps your people are sitting on $20 million. And here you are, the strict requirements of the stock exchange rules means that perhaps you tick the box for 10, not all the 12 she wanted. So on the basis of the two, go back. You can take that money and approach a company and say, hey, particularly those that are about building the mine, okay? And say, I'm going to give you $20 million. You produce the gold, give it to me. You understand that? Or I'll take equity. So I'm saying Asante. Asante got $100 million CD equivalent from an institution in Ghana here. And the agreement was, I gave us gold. They finished giving them the gold. So I asked myself, let's say if 10 years ago, okay, or even 2 years ago when the price of gold was $1,500 an ounce, and SNIT has taken $10 million, or even just $5 million, and say, I'm giving it to gold mining company, why? Take it. I'm going to buy gold. So SNIT bought gold, $5 million 2 years ago, or even last year, Randy. And then the gold is held in maybe some vote in one of the commercial banks here or Bank of Ghana, or they can decide to put it in Switzerland or any other place. If they are selling today and the price of gold announced is more than 2,300, the account will say they are almost descam. So apart from the stock market, there are alternative mechanisms, metal streaming. Okay, sometimes you say, I'm going to give you $40 million, and then me and you agree on a reduced price of the metal. Some would like to buy the metal from you and use it as raw materials for something. So some refining, all these mechanisms are there. So I'm even saying, look, if you don't want to go to the stock market, okay, because that's a requirement now, LI 2431, within 5 years, unless SEC and GSE says we are bouncing you, then you have to come back to MINCOM, and then on advice of the minister, will give you some extension. But if you come and tell us that Abner has rejected you, but you are holding $30 million or $5 million, because we're trying to look at $100 million as the minimum where if you hit that, you have that, you qualify to go, or you must go and list. But she may also have to look at other requirements. SEC also, Security and Exchange Commission, they also look at other requirements. I'll be comfortable if you can tell me that, look, SEC has rejected me, GSA has rejected me, but I've given that $30 million to, let's say, Goldfields, and they'll give me gold. You understand that? You can also buy gold and hold. Because my worry is the interest rate. Randy, you know something? Newmont, if they were building a half enough, which I'm saying it will be ready a year from now, middle of next year, you will see a 300,000 ounce mine, which will increase our production. That same project, that is not the same interest rate they will borrow in Australia, because they look at the risk profile. You see, so the more we, if you like, cajole or force them to raise the money here, then nobody will go and give them, nobody will give you interest rate 3%, 4% to come and build a mine in Ghana here. You are joking. But they will get 1%, 2%, 0.5, etc. because of their risk profile. So company will get 1% or 2%, okay, money, $200 million in Australia. The same company building a bigger project here, 10%, 12%. So we are better off because they will take their money back. And then what do you charge them? Withholding tax or what? Look at Goldfields. Goldfields is the 6th largest producer of gold in the world. Takwa mine, that monster mine, Takwa, which does more than 500,000 ounces a year, is the biggest among their portfolio. Okay, so 2% or 1% interest rate in some other jurisdiction to build perhaps a mine half of the production of Takwa. But then if you say they should come like this joint venture, assuming we approve it or it goes through, the interest rate for the various monies they are going to raise, and you're looking about what? Billions of dollars to build that JV. The interest rate they are going to get, they say, oh, Ghana, high risk. So Scotia Bank, some hedge funds or something, they'll be quoting 12%, 15%. Even though you look at your currency risks, political risks, and political risks, they don't even look at Ghana per se, even though we are the safest. They will say, oh, Sahelia is within West Africa. That's why anything that happens to our neighbor must be of concern to us, because they use them to judge us. So that's what I'm saying. Go and buy gold and hold it. So if Senate was holding gold, Charlie, they have, like you will be selling and be paying what? Some of the pensions. So you don't necessarily have to go to the stock market. If you don't want to go there, then tell us how you are raising money. Because the bottom line is indigenization of the sector. Because I am tired of people meeting in the street and say, oh, foreigners own our mines. So the stock market route, ownership of Ghana bauxite, the Asante situation, and more of that. Give us 5 years, we'll get there. So you are coming here, maybe I'll be retiring, or in 5-6 years time, or even 10 years, we'll say maybe there are about 20 gold mines in Ghana. You mentioned one, so Ghanaian state participation, 15% here, 30% here, 100% here, 40% here. Then we can say we can arrive. If you top that with the local content, where more than half of their receipts are spent on buying supplies, you keep them here, then you can now say that yes, money is beginning to benefit us the way we can speak boldly about it in Australia, in Canada, and other jurisdictions. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So thanks, Abna. Thanks, Martin. And Abna, I look forward to engaging the stock exchange. I think that, you've had this opportunity because Maincom has decided to engage us to do this Thursday morning, I think, to enlighten the public and provide some information and clarity as far as the sector is concerned. I think that it's an opportunity that you must also take advantage of. Absolutely. So we can also do something like Ghana Stock Exchange, because I've learned a lot. There are many things that I have learned today. And if I have learned a lot, you can imagine a lot more that everybody else, including myself, can learn. We can know, and then also...
Are you planning to buy?
Planning to buy what?
Shares.
Oh.
Go and sell the other one and come on Atlantic.
Don't worry, I'll sell my football club and then I'll come and buy gold.
No, all these are products we are bringing to the market. To give, in fact, there is one product that's giving access to gold, and MIF is working with us to put on another product.
Okay. So there's a lot for us.
There's a lot
we can do.
There's a lot.
So let's partner and get it going.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. So thanks, Abna.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, viewers, for listening to us, and we'll continue the engagement.
All right. Okay. So